the facilities that they're going in to work at, or even in their homes, they're not allowed to turn on their heating or their air.
What is going on, guys? Chris Work here, Profit Dig. I'm here this evening with our Chief Technical Officer, Jeff Givens. I almost called you Jeff Spencer.
Givens.
Yeah, Spencer's not with us this evening. Yeah, he had some other things going on. Yeah, my bad. Jeff Givens with a G. Yes. And we had David Collins. He's our special guest this evening. He is an HVAC instructor at a local tech school here, and he's just been filled with a wealth of information. I've learned that I'm probably going to be shopping for a new unit soon. But other than that, it's been a pleasure having David here this evening. So, welcome. We're here at Profit Day Construction Show, guys.
Yeah, man, since you're here with us, David, there's an interesting kind of occurrence that I've seen. You know, I work with a global organization, and I am constantly interacting with people, especially from Europe. And one thing that I've seen them deal with is, we'll be doing a video conference online, for example, or even when I'm there, sometimes when I travel there, either to like France or other places. These people, the facilities that they're going in to work at, or even in their homes, they're not allowed to turn on their heating or their air because there are government regulations restricting their agency or freedom to use that energy. They technically can do it, but they'll get charged a fine or a fee to use like in excess of a certain amount for a given month or a given week. You know, it depends on the scenario. But I'm curious to know, like, is that something that we might see here eventually?
I mean, I think the possibility is there. The technology that's coming out is going to have that possibility ingrained in it. We're going to smart thermostats.
Connected products.
Connected products. We're going to smart homes, all connected products. And from our point of view, we're looking at it as, this is awesome. So one push of a button, I can be in Florida, I can change the temperature of my home, I can turn my lights on and off. Mm-hmm. I can look in my home and see what's going on with it.
Mm-hmm. Which is good technology.
It's awesome.
It's great
technology.
if you're the one doing it.
Exactly.
It's awesome technology. The problem with it is it comes with a possible price of, can a hacker get into my home and change things?
Yeah.
And that has been known to happen. I think what we're more liable to see here is, let's say you've got all these apartment complexes in a big city and you sign a lease for that apartment complex. Well, for me, when I had an apartment, I got my lease and I started signing, and I didn't read anything. And I'm going to say that's most people. Do you have time to read?
It's always a lot of documentation and legalese, right?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get my keys, right? And I think that goes for most people. So, well, they might have something in there that says you cannot turn your thermostat above 68 in the winter or something like that. A lot of people are cold at that temperature.
Yeah.
And you want to turn it up. So they may have it set to where with a smart thermostat, they can change it. And I'll use Walmart for an example. And this is just hearsay. I don't know this for an absolute fact. But I was told that there is a central hub that controls the temperature in all the Walmarts across the nation.
Really?
So a manager, and that may be false information, but it makes sense.
It does make sense.
But the manager at a local Walmart cannot set their temperature. And
interesting.
So I think that, like, from that standpoint of, okay, I'm trying to keep the Walmart costs down, then I don't want this manager down here in Florida cranking their AC way down because it's a million degrees. I want to find a good happy medium there.
Is there any relationship with that? And I don't know, I've always heard like there's some science behind like temperatures and grocery stores, and it's like, I guess if it's a cooler temperature, we tend to be more hungry. We might buy more groceries, spend more money. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe they're doing some testing like that too. Maybe they're testing different levels of degree in different parts of the country to see what's going to get me to buy more beef. Or
So in a restaurant,
I'm sure there have been studies
I'm
done.
sure they have.
Yeah.
in a restaurant, they keep the temp. Some of them will keep the temperature real cold, and that's so that you don't stay too long.
I would
And so
think
that
it
you'll get your food, eat it, and get out for the next person to come in, so they don't
Interesting.
have this big long wait outside
Yeah.
waiting on these people that are just
turn
hanging
bodies
out.
through that door.
Right.
Yeah, they
And
want
you're
me to be
because you
comfortable.
get there, you eat, and you automatically, your body's working through digesting that food, and you start to get a little chilly, you know?
Yeah.
So then you're like, okay, I'm out of here, you know?
Yeah.
So
Jeez.
that's kind of the, supposedly, that's.
I would think
what
at the
was told,
supermarket, though, you'd want the opposite effect. Let's keep them in here as long as
As
we
long as
can.
possible, so we
Because
don't
the
make it
more
comfortable.
products they walk past, the more, like,
Right.
It's like IKEA, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever been to an IKEA?
Huh.
Well, so they have a brilliant
Oh, it's yeah.
design. When you go into IKEA, you start at a certain point, and to get out, you have to go through the entire store
Yep.
to
Yeah.
get out. And
Yeah.
they're
Food court and everything.
yeah, everything. And the last stop is the cash register, right?
Of course it is.
Right. So, and you see this in like smaller scale in retail as well, like cash registers by the door. Now, there's some security reasons for that as well, but really the idea is that you get them into the store, they have to go to see the products, they have to go to the back and work their way back out and pass by
Right.
as many, because if people don't see the product, they're not going to buy the product, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And IKEA really has nailed that, and because they're
Yeah.
big.
Huge. Yeah.
Well, just think about this. I'm not saying that this is happening because I don't know of any particular place that would. And I'm not saying that I want it to happen because I wouldn't. But if I'm just looking at it from the dollars standpoint, if you were to build a subdivision and you were to have one central HVAC unit running to heat and cool this subdivision, and all you had was water running to the houses to actually transfer the heat to and from them, because in the summer we're taking heat out, in the winter we're putting heat in.
Yeah.
But think about it, you have this one main big unit, right? So then you lease out these properties or sell them however, but it's part of
Like a HOA.
an
or
HOA,
something.
something like that. And you know, they have all these rules and stuff. So you put in those
Oh,
rules
yeah.
that we're going to sell you this house with the electric bill. We're going to foot the electric bill for you and the water bill. You get a lease on a house with no utilities.
Yeah.
Right? So that makes life easy.
That's
Yeah.
So now you're like, okay, I'll pay you this much a month, and then I don't have to worry about anything else, right?
yeah.
But then they put stipulations on, they lock out your thermostat, and
I guess would you even have a thermostat at that point?
that's another question.
might not, yeah.
Would
Yeah,
you
you
even
have
be
it.
able to control
Yeah.
that? Like when you go into a big, I work on some of our building automation systems at the school, and I control the temperatures. You know, there is a button that they can push. Some of them, there's just a home button or an away button. So you
No,
know
it
that
says
we're here.
Call David.
Right? So there's occupied, unoccupied.
Okay.
Well, we have time set for all that to take place. Somebody says I'm hot, well, I can get on my computer and I can change the temperature a little bit. So, but yeah, in some of those rooms, in some of those places, they can't change the temperature. We set it for what's going to be comfortable in order to save some money.
Yeah.
Right? And that's typical for commercial buildings.
Sure.
So that would, like, to me, just looking, like I said, at dollars and cents, and if I'm somebody that's really about the green energy standpoint, and I'm going to go that route, so I can see that kind of thing taking place. Like that, to me, that's what I see happening. Or there's a heavy load on the electric grid right now because it's 100 plus degrees outside.
Yeah.
So we're going to lock everybody's thermostats where they can't go below this number. You know,
Yeah.
say 75. 75 in the house is hot, but it's cooler than it is at 100 degrees.
Well, and that might be just enough to get people on board too, because a little air is better than absolute none. Or no electric, no lights, no anything.
Well, and they twinkle you're twinkling the ease out there. It's just like with a smart home. You're looking at it as, oh, well, this will be easy. I'll get on my phone and I'll just see what's going on. But you're not thinking about all the possibilities of things that could happen.
Right.
Hacker can take over my entire house.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. That scares the living daylights.
I go to dive into my heated pool and it's ice cold.
Right?
Cyber attack.
Yeah, imagine being like the mildly annoying hacker.
And on one hand, it's not that big of a deal. Like on one hand, you look at it and be like, well, I mean, what have I got to hide?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, do you want people seeing what you're doing? Like, I don't want people watching me, knowing that somebody.
Or they get into your Ring doorbell.
Right. Right. And it's stuff like that. So, or even the fact that they might just be having fun, let's turn his heat on in the middle of summer.
That sounds like
while he's gone from work, and you get home and it's 100 degrees in your house. The paint's peeling off the wall because it's too hot. Right. You know what I mean?
Cat's passed out.
Just sweating, sweating down the wall.
He's just panting.
And admittedly, when I was growing up, we would like to pull some pranks sometimes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Sure. I mean, but we all.
We've done a couple of different videos on cybersecurity.
Yeah.
And I would say the majority, let's say 90% of the people out there that have the skill set to hack, they're using tools. They're not themselves good hackers, but there's like low-hanging fruit.
Right.
They've got password crackers out there that can maybe try to get onto your wireless network. But if someone who really knows what they're doing wants to hack your system, as a homeowner, you're probably screwed.
Right.
Like these are not the most cyber secure devices, but they will protect against the 90%.
Yeah.
And as long as you don't really piss off the wrong person that has that skill set, I think you'd be fine in most cases.
Yeah.
But I do have concerns about how with a connected system, if it connects back to a centralized repository, is the data that I should have visibility on for my home and the control that I have, is that getting sent up to some central server that Nest or Google has all the information? I mean, is that Nest thermostat listening to what I say? Like, that's probably a good chance.
It's probably a good chance. It's like you're like, man, it's a little chilly in here, So you just pull out your phone, have to do a Google search. There's like sweater ads.
Yeah. They listen to you,
Well, and there's, just think about this, for instance. We may not fall for this, but think about if you would. So somebody comes along and says, hey, I will give you this $300 thermostat that will do all these cool things. You can set it to cool down an hour before you go to bed so that it's in a nice crisp 68 degrees when you get in the bed at night. There's we'll heat it up a little bit for you at a certain time so when you get out of bed the house is warm and not cold. You know what I mean? Like I like to sleep when it's a little colder at night, but I don't like to get into the cold house, So the idea of it warming up a little bit first sounds pretty awesome. While you're gone for the day, we can raise the temperature or lower it depending on winter or summer to help save you on energy bill, right? So you get all that stuff pitched at you how awesome these thermostats are, and they're going to send you a free one to hook up. And you have to, it has to stay hooked up to the internet, right?
Okay.
Well, they send you a little thing to sign with it. How many people are going to actually read all of that?
Oh, yeah. No.
So if somebody's wanting to control the grid a little better, then that's what I see happening.
Yeah.
I see people signing things that are saying you're not allowed to raise your temperature above 75 or above 68 in the winter. You're not allowed to bring it below 75 in the summer. Or even those thermostats coming programmed with a block. Because, we can program those thermostats. But you can also set them to where nobody else can. So like I can program a thermostat and I can put a code in it where nobody else can change it without the code I put in it.
Yeah.
So that being said, would something like that happen, I could very easily see that sort of control because they're trying to control the grid.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
don't they do that with like power meters now?
With
Like electric power meters, like on our homes and stuff.
I'm not aware of any
Like, isn't that-
energy throttling in
isn't-
this area, but maybe.
I think in
no,
California,
no. I just mean in terms of accessing it and reading the data. Like,
they
that's
do
all-
that from home base.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
all
yeah,
from
yeah.
home base now.
Well, all
so-
your power meters are almost everywhere in the country now are on a fiber network.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, and in fact, in this area, we're getting home fiber soon. Because the
power
electric companies are so used to running fiber now, right? So, but yeah, that's why you don't see in this area at least
Yeah.
the guy walking around the back of your house. Like you only know
Yeah.
he's there because the dog's barking, right?
Yeah.
Like
Right.
they don't have to ask you for permission. You agreed to it when they installed it, but them to come out and take the reading. Well, now they don't have to do that. They can get any time, all the time.
all the time.
Right.
Well, I need to pay more attention to that and maybe start audit their findings to make sure that.
Well,
It's just hard. It's hard because these things have some really good, I love technology. I love
Oh, I
all
love
the things
technology,
that you
yeah.
can do with it.
Yeah.
But then it's really scary because if you don't really pay attention, there's a lot of control and bad, and I don't, we live in a free
but-
country for a reason. We don't want to
Absolutely.
be controlled.
Yeah.
So.
Well, in our generation too, I mean, we are considering that,
Right.
anytime we're faced with some piece of new technology, whereas our children are not.
No, you take it.
They were born with
TikTok.
all this technology and everything. Yeah, it's
You take the TikTok guys, girls. They don't care.
They don't
They
care.
strike
Yeah.
strike it up. Let's
Absolutely,
go.
yeah.
They're like, oh, that'll
we'll
be
make
easy.
videos about it.
Oh, I can do
We'll
that from my
monetize it.
phone. Yeah, it's man, teaching young men and women, and I teach a high school class as well. So, teaching these kids that have been in the TikTok world
Yeah.
is so weird.
Yeah.
It's different.
I'm sure it is.
And just getting them off their phone.
Yeah.
I'll be like, hey, you need to just stick your phone up here because you can't concentrate. They don't know what to do with themselves.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
it's almost like they have withdrawals. And it's
Yeah. Well, it's not really their fault, right?
No,
They've
it's
been
not. It's
conditioned
They have
Right.
been conditioned
to live
Right.
that way.
Absolutely.
And I know my wife and I, we will let each other know, you know what, you've been on your phone a lot. You need to.
well, and me and my wife are the same way. It's like, hey, I'm sitting over here. She probably does it more than I do because I'm gone and she's ready to see me when I get home. And when I get home, I had a stressful day or whatever. I grab my phone up and I'm trying to de-stress, and she's over there going, "Hey, are we still married?"
Yeah.
What's
I
going
can
on
help you with that de-stressing.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm trying TikTok, you ticked off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well,
Well, I've seen that in the EU, in other countries that
Yeah.
have the government has a more stringent hold, and I don't know if something like that would fly here. At least not the way we are now, especially in Tennessee, because we don't like government telling us anything.
Yeah.
They could tell us, like you said, free thermostat for you, and everybody here is, or majority of people here are going to be like, nah. You don't tell me what to do.
I'll say
even if it's free.
if it's gonna happen here, you're gonna see it happen in California first.
Yeah.
oh sure. I
Whatever's
see
gonna
that.
happen,
Yeah.
you can watch it happen in California.
Over there on
first.
anything on the West Coast, right?
And there was a subdivision that they put a throttle on all their thermostats
Yeah.
last summer. So I don't know the full details of that. I have to go back and
Yeah,
reread the
interesting.
article,
Yeah,
but it
check
did
it out, too,
happen.
yeah.
So
I mean, was this a sort of pilot program, or was this a developer? And
Right.
This is like a program they implemented. You live in this neighborhood.
Well, I know even the
it's-
company I work for, we partnered, and I forget which country it is. It's like Austria, but we're building a smart neighborhood.
Smart neighborhood.
that's kind of what I'm seeing happening.
Now, and if with the intentions to do well, this is a great idea. But with that additional control, if the wrong government takes the wrong action, this control is no longer, because like you mentioned that big centralized unit for a subdivision.
Yeah.
Well, your costs are going to go down if you have one unit rather than modular,
Sure.
right?
Right.
And for sure, you can charge your tenants less. Maybe it's a 5%, 10% markup, but someone who's greedy, or a government that's greedy, now all of a sudden it's no longer in the best interest of you as an individual citizen. You're subject to someone else's desires.
That's what the World Economic Forum is all about, man. They're wanting
Yeah.
to build these what they call 15-minute cities where you
Yeah.
have everything you need and within walking distance. You don't need
Yeah.
a car, you don't need this and that. But, you lose your freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Franklin's got one. That's if you
Oh, I've
go
been
down,
there.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like
It is.
Like if you're that kind of person, I like living out in the country
I mean,
myself.
yeah,
if
me
you're that
too.
kind of person, I mean, talk about convenience. Like
I
I'm
know.
gonna walk down here
You
and
got
get
a
my groceries and walk
you
back
got,
home.
you get your hair cut. I can get it
Yeah.
all done right there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
so I see some stuff like that happening, and there's some of that's been talked about, but I see some stuff like that happening, and it's just like the old pay no attention to the man behind the mirror.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
you're dangling your carrot right here while you're reaching around
Yeah.
and setting down what it is you want to set
Yeah.
down, and that's
Yeah.
kind of what I'm not saying it is what's happening, but it
Sure.
sure does feel that
Yeah,
way.
I mean, at my age now, yes, with kids still at home and everything, I want to be in the country. We want our space.
Right.
But when I get in retirement age, who knows? That may sound pretty nice for me, but like I can just walk across the street, grab some groceries,
Well-
maintain a bit more, active lifestyle. Don't have the need for the car, like that doesn't sound all that bad. But when I'm that age too, I don't know if I care so much about giving up a little bit of freedom here or there because.
That's why they burned that city in Hawaii down. It was a plan. It's a planned 15-minute city spot. I don't.
I don't know anything about that. I'll have to do some research.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, Chris, like that culture, like where we live here in rural Tennessee, you could not get by without a vehicle.
No,
Like I don't.
no way.
Maybe with a bicycle you could get by.
An electric bicycle,
But you'd
with a
be pretty
big-ass
limited
basket to
in
put all
your-
my groceries in.
Yeah,
Right.
But you'd be pretty limited in what you could do day in
Yeah.
and day out.
Yeah.
Whereas in a lot of the European countries or Indian or Asian countries, like they are structured in such a way that everything you need is within a 15-minute walk.
Yeah.
And there is something nice anytime I'm in one of those countries, like I don't need to have a car. I take
No.
public transportation to the
Yep.
location I want to be at, and anywhere I want to go, I can just walk to it.
Yeah.
It is nice.
It is not. I love public transportation. I love it if I'm in a city that I can take a rail or something. It's like I just find it awfully convenient. And it's just like when you're planning a vacation, we try to plan our stay and everything to where we don't have to worry about a rental car. If we need to go somewhere, we can grab a lift or whatever. But otherwise, everything is within walking distance, and that's just what we want during that period of time. I do enjoy coming home to my countryside home.
Yeah, with my big truck. And,
With my, well, yeah, I don't have a big truck anymore, but yeah,
oh yeah, no, you did.
yeah. So awesome.
All
Well,
right.
I don't guess I have anything else to add to this conversation.
No.
Other than I'm going to go home and rip my thermostat off. No, I'm kidding.
No.
I don't have a smart thermostat.
Yeah.
No, it's I
No,
old school
they do have
thermostat.
their good. They definitely have their place and their good things. It's
Oh,
just the
absolutely,
things to
yeah.
be to know that are available.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
it's the
That's-
idea that if something's too good to be true, it is
Right.
too good to be
It
true.
usually is.
Like, so as we get more and more, the cost of things go down. Like even TVs, like can you imagine like $300 now you get like a 50-inch smart TV.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
10 years ago that was a $1,500
Or more, yeah.
product.
Yeah.
So there are benefits there, but that TV knows anything and everything you're watching.
It does.
And so like for sure there's compromise there, and I would say like the biggest concern is just be aware. And I think as David said, fortunately and unfortunately in this country, our West Coast is kind of like the canary in the coal mine. Like if we think there's something that could be going down, like it'll happen there first.
Just pay attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and there was conversations had I was part of a little while back about Well, we're going down this road that every thermostat in America is going to be a smart thermostat. And I disagree with that because there's, one of the questions was raised of what about the people who live in rural America that don't have internet? And then the reply was, oh, well, they don't care about that. Well, that's not logical. But
no, and internet is a utility now. So
right.
I mean, let's fix that problem before we worry about trying to control the temps in everyone's home.
Right. So I don't foresee that being anytime really soon.
Yeah.
That everybody going to that. What I more foresee is people signing up for something that they didn't realize they signed up for.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, and again, like we were talking about earlier too. I mean, our kids' generation, they'll be more accepting of something like that.
Yeah. Teach your kids. Teach your kids.
Teach kids. Yeah.
Teach them early. Don't trust anybody.
Yeah.
Well, do it agree.
Trust but verify. Isn't that what it's taken? Trust but verify.
That's right.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Well, we'll wrap it up here, guys. Listen, David, sincerely appreciate you joining us this evening. It's been a pleasure having you, man.
I appreciate the invite.
Jeff
I've
Gibbons.
enjoyed it.
It's been a pleasure to be with you too, Chris.
I really appreciate it. Producer Jerry, thank you for the work you do behind the scenes. And if y'all don't mind, take a second and subscribe to our channel. Like the video, leave us a comment. Let us know if there's something you want to talk about. If you are a contractor in need of a job bidding and costing solution, we have it for you. It's only $99 a month. You can check it out at profitdig.com. We'll see you next time.